No amount of time will make us stray. We'll keep searching through the darkest day for every soul that's lost or gone. We'll fight until the break of dawn. American justice stands so tall. We won't rest until we found you. For all the lost, both the near and far, you're in our hearts, you're who we are. Through the nights and through the pain, we will say your name again. Every step we take is true as we continue to search for you. American justice stands so tall. We won't rest until there is justice for all. For all the lost, both the near and far, you're in our hearts, you're who we are. We will continue to pray until you're home to stay.
Hey, everybody. So, who do we have here? Hey, Kelly. Hey, Marie. And we got Mariska. Sorry, guys. I was late. I had to get my tea and stir my pot roast because it's like right on the edge of being done. It's like right there. It's like teasing me at this point. Mariska, love this. For the love of Jack and Lily. Yes. They are the ones that matter. Hello, Root Strength. This song brings tears to my eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. Cheryl. Little Mama. Nana. All right. I think I'm caught up. So, I wasn't going to do a live. I really wasn't. But I was like, why not? And I didn't know what to talk about. That's why I didn't want to do a live. But somebody said, well, let's go over, what about going over Derwood stuff? It's, why not? Because he's, in my opinion, he is a lot like Daniel and Malaya. He can't seem to get his story straight right now of what he thinks and what he believes. And we'll see it. These screenshots are in no order, let me tell you. I did not put them in any kind of order, so they're going to be all over the place. So just be forewarned. JMH, hello from Saskatchewan, Canada. Well, hello. You're a good distance from me, I think. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But anyway, so I'm going to go off screen. And of course, it's all about Jack and Lily, who went missing on May 2nd, 2025 from their Nova Scotia home. Lily is 6 and Jack is now 5. He was 4 when he went missing. Hello, Lynn. How are you? All right, guys. So I guess just let's get into this because, like I said, I didn't know what to go over. So part of what I want to do tonight is just I want to hear everybody out. What do you think happened? And when you tell me what you think happened, I want reasons why you think that. I don't just want, I think Daniel hurt the kids, or I think Malaya hurt the kids, or any of that. I want to know why. I can back up what I think with facts, like within the case, out of court documents and things that we've learned over the last a little over 8 months. So tell me what you think, and we'll go over it. What time is it where I am? Pot roast sounds good. Yeah. It is 9 o'clock my time. 9:06. I put it on. I was a little late getting it on, so I got it on. I think around 2:30, something like that, this afternoon. And like I said, it's right on the edge. I stole a little bit of a bite while I was in there, so I mean, it's ready to eat. I just haven't went and done it yet. It's storming here too. Um, and I don't know, I shouldn't really say storm. It's just like super windy right now. All right. So let me take Jack and Lily off and add. I wish it would do that automatically. So let's just go over some of, excuse me, what Derwood has said in this case. It is yummy root strength. It is. I was like, oh, that's good. I'm going to have to go in there and get some. I'm like, well, dang it. I already scheduled the live. Let's do it. I'll eat afterwards. So, like I said, these screenshots are not in any particular order whatsoever. Because I move things around. So, like, they would have like been in somewhat of an order like when I took them, but because I move things around so often, then I replace it with another screenshot, so they're all over the place, let me tell you. All right, hold on one second. Oh my, I don't know what that big noise was just now, but okay. Like I said, it's super windy here. I'm gonna be surprised if we don't have a warning now. So this screenshot is from Daphne's live the other day. And Derwood said, do you know who owns the church and who lives in the basement? Well, I've got pictures of the church I think he was talking about. But if somebody's living in the basement, that church is boarded up. So why would anybody be living in the basement of it? Thank you, Nova. So I had asked for the Globe and Mail because I don't have access to it. So thank you. I might go over that yet. I don't know. Um, so he said, do you know that Daniel confessed to Brad that he was driving around all night and who he was with? I think I know Brad a lot better than you do, Sonny. Call bullshit. Okay, because that's not true. I think I know Brad better than you, Derwood. I think you just have it out for Brad. Let's be honest. People insert themselves because they care, maybe. Okay. Is that why you inserted yourself, Derwood? Because you've clearly inserted yourself in this case. Jack and Lily, you don't share their missing poster. You don't share anything good about them on your page. You don't ask for people to bring them back. Well, I guess you did technically once when you blamed the First Nation, which again says a lot more about you there, Derwood, than anybody else, because the First Nation isn't going to hide these kids, in my opinion. So I guess we'll see when this all pans out and we find Jack and Lily. But yeah, I highly, highly, highly doubt First Nations has these children. I would be extremely surprised and I will eat a shoe. Just saying. Get off YouTube and maybe we will. Well, if it weren't for YouTube, Jack and Lily's names wouldn't be out there. If it weren't for us on YouTube keeping their names alive, then they would have been buried by now. And I don't mean buried like literally. I mean, another case would have come along and we would have focused on it. We wouldn't be focusing on Jack and Lily. It's because of YouTube, in my opinion, that this case has stayed alive for as long as it has. We are the ones bringing attention to Jack and Lily. We are the ones keeping their names out there. And I'm not talking, I know Belinda and Chelsea and, you know, the family. Yes, they are too. But we're doing our part. We're trying to keep their faces and their names out there and keep the conversation going. So for you to tell, and we'll get into some of those screenshots, when you say people need to get off YouTube, or you're downing creators that are keeping their names out there, that shows a lot about you. That shows how you feel about Jack and Lily. And that shows how much you want them found, in my opinion. So just need to say, okay, so this one was posted today. I seen it on Shenanigans earlier. And he said, I just need to say the man who is mainly responsible for the disappearance, quote unquote, of Jack and Lily is the same man whose quote unquote IP address has been exposed as the source of almost all of the fake news, false accusations, and statements made on Facebook and YouTube, along with most of the fake profiles commenting and supporting his post. And I'm gonna steal Shenanigans' words here, but if I had to play Hangman, that says Daniel Martell. The game of tag you're playing is over and you're it. Root says, I was on Garlock Road today. The house just before Janie's with the gated driveway was plowed, so someone must have a key to the gate because it was locked after it was plowed. Are you talking like on the old road? I'm not sure I know exactly where you're talking about. I think I know where you're talking about or thereabouts, but not positive. So keep in mind, in this one, in my opinion, the way I'm reading this, you are blaming Daniel Martell for this. Now, you had messaged me, Derwood, and said somebody else took the kids for their own safety. And I've got that screenshot, and we'll go over it too. So, along with 4 names of people I shared with on here, I'm going to figure out how to do this easier. Along with 4 names of people I shared with on November 13th that have information about child trafficking going on in Pictou County, a private investigator who has been sharing info with me. First of all, no private investigator should be sharing information with you. Period. I don't care if they're licensed. I don't care if they're real, if they're fake, any of that. Nobody, private investigator, lawyer for this case, somebody respectable, should be giving you any kind of information whatsoever. And that's just my opinion. The driveway to the right just before the trailer. Okay. Hello, Deborah. It does seem odd that, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, even if they're not home, still want their driveways plowed, maybe. Or maybe the county has a key. I don't know. I don't know how to take that one. Chrissy was, I believe, that's who he's talking about. Talking of. I think so too. But again, no private eye or PI or lawyer or anybody else should be sharing information with Derwood. He is like a third cousin to these kids because he's Malaya's grandma's cousin. So that makes him Malaya's second cousin, right? So he'd be like third to fourth cousin of the kids. I could understand a PI sharing information with him if he were a direct uncle, aunt, I'll even say cousin, first cousin. But when you get past immediate family, nobody should be sharing information with you. In my opinion. Just plain and simple. Maybe not. But again, it doesn't matter whether it's Chrissy or somebody else. The information should not be being shared with Derwood, in my opinion. Hello, Sailor Moon. How are you tonight? So Marie said, try to keep my opinions to myself or I will be accused of being other people again. This is a safe space. Share what you want. I don't care. Share your opinion. Mariska, who is Chrissy? Chrissy is the Chrissy Travers, who is the PI that was working with Daleen Thomas, who is the lawyer for Belinda. Supposedly a PI. Not seen that confirmed, but Belinda says she's a PI, so I guess I'm gonna have to take Belinda's word. No reasonable PI, at least. Exactly. Like, why are you sharing information with like a third or fourth freaking cousin? Like, that's just ridiculous. Cindy second, Malaya's third. So he would be the fourth cousin of the kids. Like, that's way too far down the damn line, okay? You don't need to be sharing any kind of information with the family or with Derwood. I hope you're well. So glad to see you live tonight. Sorry, I'm a little late. It's okay. I'm good. I'm feeling better. The medicine they have me on has my lungs open and working for now. And my heart is holding up. Hi, Leanne. How are you, dear? Hi, April. Got it. Thank you. Okay. So I don't remember where I left off. Info with me and a couple other people trying to find the truth informed me that they also reported verified information which directly aligned with what I found. Oh, so you're a PI now, Derwood? You think you're going to solve this and what? Get the money? Is that what you're after? Because it seems to me like you just like to spread misinformation and do whatever. Because I really don't think you're in this for the right reasons. I don't think that you're telling the truth. I think you're full of it. Hi, Animal Keeper. So glad to hear that. Hope you keep on the. I hope so, because I tell you what, this is gonna be the death of me. I'm telling you. I was told by this investigator that their info was solid, and that one of the major people involved should be arrested immediately when the RCMP reviewed that report. Well, this was a screenshot from a while back, so her information must not be very good. That investigator shared a recording of a source naming a child trafficker and said that Jack and Lilly were smuggled across the border. Bullshit. You want to know how I know that's bullshit right there? Is the fact that they wouldn't be able to go across the border without documentation. Okay. This isn't Mexico to the United States. This is Canada to the United States. Let's get real. Like, seriously. I'm tired of the BS. I'm tired of you putting your crap out there and all you're doing. And in my opinion, you are just as bad as Chrissy is when it comes to spreading misinformation and when it comes to hurting this case. You guys are basically handing a defense to, in my opinion, to the defense attorneys if this goes to court. Just saying. Also, Derwood is erratic. I wouldn't trust him with private information. Loose lips sink ships. Exactly, Root String. Exactly. In my opinion, does anyone think this may have been a horrible accident and they freaked out? Lynn, I cannot say that I don't believe that. I think it's entirely possible that there could have been the kids got into something and they didn't know what to do, so they thought they would cover it up, and this is how they come up with it. I also think it's entirely possible that based on allegations and CPS reports of abuse that had happened, maybe something happened that night and it went a little too far, and you've got one kid that can talk, so both kids have to go, and the only reason Meadow was spared is because she was too young to tell anybody what happened. I can't say as I disagree with you. I've not ruled that out. It's hard to say what happened. Exactly. It is because, even the RCMP has said that nothing is off the table. Do we all kind of have our ideas of what happened? Sure. I've got my own ideas of what happened. But that's not the only possibility. And we have to be open to all the possibilities. We can't just say, well, this is what happened, because we don't have all the facts. If the RCMP knows more than we do, and I fully believe that they do, and we have doubts amongst ourselves of what happened, then the RCMP, in my opinion, would make an arrest immediately if they had the proof to back it up. If they had what they needed to prove the case in court, I don't think it would take very long for an arrest to be made. But again, there's too many variables and too much misinformation out in the YouTube world and online. I mean, I constantly see people saying, oh, the kids were found. No, they weren't. Stop with the AI bullshit and keep it real. Keep it factual. And in the description of this video is the document that I created for this case, and it is based on fact. It is based on court documents and what has come out of the family's mouths themselves. And that's what needs to be focused on, not this extra bullshit that Darren likes to spew, in my opinion. No concrete evidence. Exactly. No, we don't have nothing of what happened. None of us were there. Exactly. We don't know. We can speculate all we want, right? We can say, well, based on XYZ, we think this happened. And based on XYZ, we think this happened. But we weren't there. We don't know. There were 3 people on that property: Janie, Daniel, and Malaya. And one of them knows something, and one of them need to talk, in my opinion. First one to talk gets the best deal, y'all. And we don't know. Maybe Malaya is being quiet because she's working with the RCMP. Do I think that's fully true? No, not really. But it's possible. It's possible that Malaya thinks Daniel did something and that's why she left. It's possible that Malaya is talking with the RCMP and they've told her, look, because at the beginning, RCMP told her to be careful of what she said publicly. Not that she couldn't talk, not that she shouldn't talk, but if she did, to be careful of what she said. Right? Now, Cindy said, oh, RCMP told us we couldn't talk. That's not what they told you. The RCMP came out and said in the press conference that they told you to be careful of what you shared. And in the United States, they tell that to families all the time. If you're going to talk publicly, be careful what you share because it can hurt the investigation. Again, you go back to the loose lips sink ships. You say too much, we're going to catch you. That's part of why we've caught so much from Daniel, is because he can't shut his mouth. But he also can't keep his story straight. We haven't caught Malaya in as much because she's kept her mouth shut. And although I wish she would talk, I do. But probably the best thing for her to do is exactly what she's doing. And that's keeping her mouth shut. And that's how I feel about that. And Justin, you think Justin had something to do with it? Justin wasn't on the property that night. I know that somebody has said that he was, but by all accounts that I've come across, Justin, Daniel's brother, was not on the property that night. Why did Malaya take the kids' birth certificates, I wonder? Because she's their mother? And I'm not trying to be mean, Deborah. I'm not. but she's their biological mother, right? And if you're leaving that relationship and you're going away, you're going to take everything of yours and your kids, and you're going to take what's most important to you. So, what would be most important to her would be birth certificates, photos, things of that nature. It A lot of people have said stuff about her taking the birth certificates, and I don't find that odd at all. When I left my ex-husband, I took my kids' social security cards, their birth certificates, pictures, my kids, their stuff. I mean, I took their stuff, and I took that from their biological dad. So, I mean, that doesn't it doesn't send up a red flag for me. If it does for you, um, care to tell me why? Because maybe you can change my mind on that. Malaya, according to her stepsister, gets drunk and alcohol is a true story. And, for years I was told, if you want to know what somebody really thinks of you, get them drunk and then ask them, because it like lowers their inhibition and they'll tell you. So, yes, I guess in a way, but you know, something something I said the other day, and I forget who I said it to, but everybody wants to think Haley is this person that was there and very close with Malaya, and everything she says is gold. Well, Haley even said that she hadn't talked to Malaya for several years. Let me pull up. I think it's in this section. Hold on. It's not in that section. So Haley had said at one point, I would have to go in here and find it because it's not where I thought it was. Um, but Haley had said that she was basically out of the kids' lives for 2 years. Essentially ever since Malaya had got with Daniel, right? And Belinda had been out of their life for 2 years. So why is it everything Haley says everybody's taking as gold when she wasn't there either? And people want to say, well, Belinda wasn't there. Well, neither was Haley. Neither was the stepsister. So I have trouble with people thinking, oh, well, Haley this and Haley that. Well, Haley herself said she hadn't been there, right? Like, I, I don't really know how to say it any better than that. Like, why are we taking Haley's word for everything, but people want to down Belinda? Like, Belinda didn't do this. Belinda wasn't there. Belinda is doing everything she can to find her grandchildren, to the point that she has obtained a lawyer to get updates from the RCMP about her grandchildren. Well, probably because they are her children. Jack and Lily are of no relationship to Daniel. Exactly. And that's what I was getting at. They're not his kids. They're not his biological kids. And they weren't married. So I guess in Canada, yes, there's the common law and he would be considered the stepfather. But again, if I was leaving my kids' stepfather, I would also take their stuff. If you are reporting a missing child or a vulnerable person, you need to provide a birth certificate. Really? In Canada? Because I know you don't have to in the United States. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, we have to be open to each other's opinions, right? I'm open to yours. Like, if you have a different opinion, let me know. And there's got to be common ground. You can't have a closed off mind in any missing person case when they haven't been found yet, right? Like, it doesn't do any good to have a closed mind. You have to be open to everything. Shan says you also need birth certificates for funeral homes. Just saying. In Canada, in Nova Scotia, because I know when I went for Nick, I didn't have to have his birth certificate. I didn't really have to have anything. I just went in there and planned it. That all was kind of a blur because they had to keep me somewhat sedated because I wasn't handling the death of my baby very well. On replay, just wanted to say hi, Melissa. Hi, Jackie B. Thank you for being here. Um, yes, along with other reasons, as in what Shan stated as well here in Canada. See, I never knew that. I never knew you had to have um a birth certificate to do a funeral in Canada. My question is why? Why would you have to have a birth certificate for a dead person? And I don't mean for that to come out wrong, but most of y'all know me, so I'll say it right or wrong. I'll be blunt about it. Hey, yes, ma'am. Thank you for being here. So, um, let's see. They were not smuggled across the border, and they weren't smuggled across the border to a reserve. You freaking imbecile. Hmm. That investigator said the source was verified solid. Yep, right. Since then, that investigator has reported that another person directly connected. Hold on a minute. No wonder this isn't working. To the family is employed by that trafficker and claims that info is solid and reported to major crimes. I'm sure major crimes had um, a good chuckle at your stupidity there, Derwood. So the only reason, in my opinion, someone hasn't been arrested at. Hold on a minute. I gotta find it. Someone hasn't been arrested at least for giving false information or far worse crimes as the RCMP are either totally incompetent or just don't care. Oh, I think they care. I don't think I'm not from Canada, so I don't know if they're incompetent. But they care. Trust me, they care. One lead investigator told People, and I witnessed this 4 months ago, that we don't want information or tips because we already know it all. Bullshit. That's all I got. Bullshit. No, they didn't. They wouldn't have said that because if they knew it all, somebody would be in cuffs and be in custody and be headed for trial. He was taken off the case and promoted shortly after that statement. They are not honoring their oaths, not protecting the public, not doing anything to help solve. Oh, well, I'm assuming it said the case. I'm sure we'll come across that here in a minute. Like I said, these are not in any particular order at all. Um, Maybe to prove you're related to the deceased? Maybe. Possibly. Maybe to prove who they really are, but it doesn't have a picture on it. I don't know. That one would be I'd be interested to know why. Canada and Australia are very alike with documents. Not sure. I thought it was that way in the States as well. No, well, it's not in Indiana. Like I said, I didn't have to have any of that. When I buried Nick, Like I said, I just went in and my family and I picked everything out, and the funeral home got us the death certificates and asked us how many we needed. And now I had to have the death certificate for a lot of stuff after Nick died. I had to use it a lot of different places, his bank, the people that had his stuff. Um, I had to have it for a lot of stuff, including um, the sheriff's department, because you can't get any other government issued ID without one. Well, yeah, you can't get a government issued ID, but if they're already gone, why would you need the birth certificate? You're not getting a government issued ID if they're gone. We only need our insurance policies. We do not need them for reporting a missing person either. No. My niece was reported missing, and when I reported Nick missing, I didn't have to have birth certificates for either one. In my opinion, how can he say that without getting in trouble? I don't know, Lynn. I think he should be in trouble for a lot of the crap he said. I mean, just me, but I think he should be in all kinds of trouble. Sailor Moon says they're incompetent. Well, maybe not incompetent, but I have little faith. But in my opinion, they bombed this whole case from week one. Hold on a minute. Let me come back to that. I think there's a lot of Nova Scotians with hard feelings towards the RCMP. Okay, so again, I'm not from Canada. I've not had to deal with them, so I don't know. However, I disagree with where you said they bombed this whole case from week one. They bombed this case from the very first second they stepped on that property, not just week one. The very first second they stepped on that property, they should have closed that property down, had a log of who was going in, who was going out, all the vehicles, who they belonged to, why they were there, and treated it as a crime scene until they knew otherwise. You can go back and downgrade it, right? You can say, okay, it's not a crime scene anymore. Let's downgrade it to a missing person. You can't go from a missing person now a little over 8 months later and say, oh, well, now it's a crime scene. Well, all the evidence is gone now. You've had people traipsing in and out of that property, only God knows how many at this point. You can't go back and get things like the railing that had a reddish brown substance on it. Well, that was gone 2 days later. Now, if you had locked down that scene from day one and treated it as a crime scene and used luminol and all of this stuff from day one, you would still have that evidence. Whereas you can't go back retrospectively and get that. You just can't. Nothing is going to be in the same spot. And I hope to God the RCMP, at very minimum, took pictures. And when I say took pictures, I hope they literally took 10 million pictures inside that house, outside the house, everything, right? Not just a picture of the home, but everything to do with the home, inside, outside, because at least then they have somewhat documentation, right? I feel like they screwed it up from the first second they stepped on the property, in my opinion. Well, birth certificate proves they were born and who they are. I don't know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yes, ma'am. I mean, maybe that's why, even though it doesn't have a picture, maybe to show that's who they are, like the information. Totally agree. I mean, we needed my dad's birth certificate for his cremation. Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's interesting to me that you have to have that in other countries, in Canada and I guess Australia as well. That's interesting to me. Daniel said they didn't, and that's even a worse thing when, Daniel said at one point he offered his phone and the RCMP said they'd come get it in a week or so. First of all, you should have took their phones that day had it put in airplane mode, put it on to cell bright. Because if you would have done that, Malaya wouldn't have had the opportunity to delete the app that she deleted. Like, and that railing, only God knows they had a wood stove. It could have been burnt. It's gone. Right? You can't go back and test it. You can't go back and say, well, was that Jack or Lily's blood? Was that Daniel or Malaya's blood? Was it blood at all? Nobody knows because you can't go back and test it because it's now gone and only God knows where it went. But that's how you can't upgrade it 8 months later. You can downgrade it 8 months later, but you can't upgrade it. And I hate it in the United States too, because they did it with Sebastian. How many people were in and out of Katie and Chris's house that day? You had neighbors, you had Seth, you had Katie, you had Chris, you had law enforcement, you had the Bowerstocks, you had all these people in there. And now it's too late. You can't go back and change that. Exactly, Melissa. And nowadays, I think the police should treat all missing children like a crime scene. The moment of call, bring everything with them. I agree. I fully agree. Now, do I think a missing adult should be treated the same way? Torn on that one. Because part of me wants to say yes in case, for the same reasons we're talking about a child, right? But an adult can walk away. An adult can choose to disappear. An adult can choose not to have contact, right? An adult can take care of themselves. A child cannot. A child at 6 and 4 are not running away and able to sustain and take care of themselves. So, kids, yes, but what is the cutoff at that? I'm torn on whether or not an adult should be treated that way, but missing children, definitely should be treated as a crime scene until proven otherwise. I didn't need a certificate for my husband or son, just the doctor's death certificate for funeral home. Yeah, that's what I needed. I needed the death certificate. Exactly, missed opportunities. They took their word at face value. Small town. I've seen it happen many times. They realize they screwed up. And that's the thing. Somebody posted, right, with little John here, Jonathan Boley. Somebody posted, oh, the search of the house wasn't, he didn't consent to the search of the house. So anything they found should be thrown out. Okay, first of all, when you report a child missing, law enforcement isn't going to show up and just take your word for it. Take your word that the child's not in the house. Law enforcement is going to go in the house, make sure they don't see the child, and then they might take your word for other stuff. But they're not going to just assume, because there have been cases where parents have reported their kids missing. Law enforcement goes in and the kid's sleeping in a closet or under stuffed animals. They don't just take your word for it. And the fact that the RCMP just took their word for what happened and didn't verify it, it irks me. It gets me. It makes me mad. Yeah, exactly. The damage is already done. You can't fix it. And sadly, again, they've handed a defense attorney ample ammo to say, well, my client didn't do it and you can't prove it. You didn't even treat it like a crime scene. If I was a defense attorney, that's the first thing I'd do. Well, why didn't you treat it like a crime scene? Well, what do you have from that day to prove it? And they have nothing. Exactly. They've let people, and they did it with Sebastian. They did it, I'm sure, with Summer Wells. They did it with little Jonathan Boley. Like, they let people trample these crime scenes, and I don't understand Why? Yes, Wolfie, you can comment. I don't know why you think you can't. Depends if they were disabled. Yes, for adults. Yeah, I mean, if they were disabled, definitely. And that's what I'm saying. I'm torn because, disabled, elderly, um, those with mental issues, that keep them, like you said, the mind of a child, like those definitely, yes. So, I mean, I'm torn on whether or not the adults should be treated as a crime scene, but definitely children and anybody childlike. Children and vulnerable people, exactly. So Wolfie says, first off, Derwood, if you're here, you're a hypocrite. Amen. Yep. Because his story changes, right? He'll say that they were smuggled across the border to the First Nations, or First Nations has them, or somebody took them to save Jack and Lily's life, to Daniel did it, to, in one interview, he said, if Daniel had anything to do with this, the kids wouldn't be alive. Well, make up your mind, Derwood. What do you think happened? And, and at least try to stick in that general area, because you're all over the place, in my opinion. Let your thoughts out, says it in the title, Wolfie. Exactly. Everybody say it. I don't care. And I've informed my mods, I don't care what people say tonight. Let them say it. Unless you're being overly rude, say your opinion. Let's talk it out. If you think they ran away, tell me why. Let's talk about it. Why do you think they ran away? If you think that they were abducted by aliens, okay, well, let's talk about it. Why do you think that? You say that me or Derwood? You say that, I'm going to say Derwood here. Derwood says that YouTubers are untruthful and we are all idiot. We are the idiots and we are hateful. I'm not an idiot, but I can be hateful. But it was you first that did the same thing to the indigenous communities and women. Exactly. He's the one who came out and said it was First Nations. He's the one that came out and said it was the native tribes. And he knew it 1,000%. You shamed yourself and exposed yourself. And it's people like me that I stand up for them. And I'll continue to do so and stick it to you and your son. So suck on that. Well, like I said earlier, Derwood can suck my dino balls. Um, I don't care. He's full of shit. He has blamed too many people and he wants to talk about YouTubers spreading misinformation. We're going off based on what we can prove that the family has said, right? We're not saying our opinions are fact. We're just going off what, you stuck up for Daniel how many times? And now you're saying Daniel did it. And we'll get to that screenshot in a minute, because you posted on your Facebook, does this look like a math head murderer to you? But now you're saying, you just said that you blame him. So which is it, Derwood? I don't see him in here. Oh, I doubt he's in here. I highly doubt he's in here. Hi, Melissa. What about stranger abduction? Sorry if you already addressed this. So, no, I haven't. Nobody's brought that one up yet. So, why do you think why does anybody think stranger abduction? First of all, because in my opinion, and the way I see it, if somebody were coming into that area, RCMP said that they could not verify what Brad and Justin said about Daniel going up and down the road the 4 times that night, because it wasn't on video. So, in my opinion, that rules out any unknown person going up and down the road, or they would have followed that lead. You see what I mean? Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. They could have come in from a different direction. They could have known. But how would a stranger have known that the kids were home and outside and done it without the kids screaming? Essentially, how would they have done it without Lily screaming? Right? But then again, you go back to what Malaya said. They'll go with anybody. They'll talk to anybody. They'll go with anybody for food and water. Like, really, the basics? Doesn't even have to be candy. It just give them some water. They'll come to you. That's concerning. Are your children that neglected, that unloved, that unwanted, that they would go to somebody for water? Like, let that sink in. They will go to anybody for water. But again, if I go back to stranger abduction, how do we know, or how did that person get in, get the kids, and get out and not be seen on camera and not be heard and have no trace since? I'm not ruling it out. I just need somebody to give me a little information on why they think a stranger abduction could have happened, because I don't see it that way, but it could be. Even the RCMP said they're not ruling anything out. Nothing has been ruled out, but they've also contradicted that and said that there's no evidence of an abduction. So you've said there's no evidence that they're in the woods. You've said there's no evidence of abduction. Well, that only leaves foul play, mother flower. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm taking their words wrong, but that's how I take it. I'd believe aliens before the runaway. Me too. But is it possible the kids went in the woods? Yes. Is it possible they just haven't been found? That's where I have trouble with it, because after all of the people that have been out there searching, after cadaver dogs, after scent dogs, after Please Bring Me Home went out there and searched, after the drones and the thermals and all of that, I have a hard time believing that they went in the woods on their own volition. Not ruled out that they're not in the woods, but them running away into the woods is so low on my list of things that could happen for all of those reasons. But again, changed my mind. I just about fell off the couch. I'm sorry, Kelly. Maybe you need to go to bed. If you ain't supposed to be falling off the couch. Opportunistic abduction, not planned. Okay, but let's line that up, Ben. For that to happen, somebody would have to be driving down the road at the perfect time to see the kids out there. Now, for that to happen, the kids wouldn't be in the backyard. They would either be in the front yard, or I'll even give you benefit of the doubt. The kids didn't know they weren't going to school. Lily got up. Lily got Jackie Boy ready. Lily and Jack went out to wait for the school bus because they didn't know they weren't going to school. I'll give you that the kids are at the road. But again, why is a vehicle not seen on camera that is... So if there's a vehicle seen on camera, they're going to track that vehicle down and know who owns it, right? Know who is driving it, know who owns it. So if there's a vehicle that shouldn't be there or isn't normally there, I would hope, but Delphi and Sebastian and so many other cases have taught me not to put this much faith in law enforcement. But I would hope that they would have done that, right? That's the least they could do. But we don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. It's possible. I don't think that's what happened because there's so much evidence otherwise. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. They requested CCTV footage going back days prior to the disappearance. Yeah. And something that a lot of law enforcement, they'll say, okay, let's go back days. Because if you've got somebody casing the area, you've got somebody repeatedly going up and down, right? You're going to notice that over several days. So I'm not surprised that they ask for footage days prior. That does not surprise me, not one bit. And I mean, that tells me they looked into the possibility of an abduction. I'm sure that the trailer would be loud if someone went in. Hold on a minute. Let me read that again, little mama. I'm sure that the trailer would be loud if someone went. You got to explain, little mama, because I'm not following what you're saying there. Fluffy didn't bark. Well, that depends on who you talk to and which story is being told, because there is text messages out there and they're in the document. It would take me a minute to find it. But Daniel did say in a text message that Janie's dog did bark, but it was only for a moment. Now, if you ask Janie, the dog didn't bark at all. Which is it? Derwood, I screenshotted your post. That is slander. You're slandering me. You'll be hearing from my lawyer and people. I'm Rob. Oh, do you need me to send it to you, or here, let me make it bigger. Let me take off this, and I'll make this a little bit bigger for you so that you get a good screenshot of that, Rob. Or Wolfie, I guess I should say. So little mama said they would have found kind of evidence in the woods. Exactly. I mean, they would have found a pull-up. They would have found tracks. When you're walking through the woods, the way I imagine it is, because we've heard it said so many times, that is very dense and there's a lot of fallen trees and all of this. The kids are tiny. They would have had to crawl over or under, and they would have been rubbing up against leaves and trees. They would have been dragging their feet because that's what kids do. Like, there would have been scent, and a lot of it. I mean, there would have been a lot of scent. There would have been the boots, there would have been the backpack, there would have been candy wrappers or water bottles or the pull up, something. It was the dino balls. I mean, Derwood can suck my dino balls. I don't have my, I guess I could come in here. Most of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. So earlier, I don't remember what made me do it, but I made a second YouTube, and it's a T-Rex dancing on a stripper pole, and so my name is I'm a Dancing Dino. You want me to take that one down? Okay. Hold on a minute, Rob. Anyway, let's go over this one real quick. Because I've been requested to take it off screen, and then I'll tell you the rest of the story. So, to all the idiots out there who are spewing hate and lies from your broken brain pans, claiming that I have criminal involvement in the missing children case of Jack and Lily Sullivan, the lead investigator for RCMP major crimes is named John Donaldson. He can be reached at, and he gives the phone number. So report any evidence you have to him directly, or shut the F up with your anonymous cowardly lies. blank is waiting anxiously for your testimony. This goes also for a balance. AB, little woke boy Justin, who has no pearls, Mike Damon, a babbling idiot, and of course that saint of a bunch, the famous Sonny Austin, who eats large buckets of KFC bones and all. And by the way, put up or shut up, you lying mutts. Okay, cool. Well, we can put up or shut up. That's what I'm doing now, Derwood, because you're an idiot. Okay, so anyway, back to Dino Balls. I decided that my picture was gonna be T-Rex dancing on a stripper pole, and my name was gonna be I'm a Dancing Dino. Just so I control the fuck out of Derwood and his little idiots. Yeah, so that's where he can suck my dino balls. Um, in my opinion, well, if is a big one here. Let me do this. Oop, wrong one. Hold on a minute. I don't know what I'm doing. It's okay. If is a big one, they walk down the driveway. Someone could have took them. If they like little kids or something, in my opinion, opportunity perhaps. And that's what I'm saying. I'll even give you that the kids walked to the end of the driveway. I'll give you that. They thought they were going to school. They didn't know they weren't going to school. They walked to the end of the driveway. But again, that person would have been caught on camera. Like, that's the part I can't get past with the abduction. They would have been caught on camera, in my opinion. If you can tell me how they got, not necessarily like details, but if you can tell me how they got in and out without being on camera, then we'll talk more about abduction. That's where I'm hung up with on whether or not it was an abduction, because RCMP looked at that video. RCMP can't verify that what Justin is saying and Brad is saying happened because it's not on video. That tells me somewhere in that vicinity is a video camera that would have caught a vehicle had an abduction occurred. That's where I'm hung up on with that. How did they get in and out without being seen on camera? Was it somebody known to the area and that's why it was overlooked? Well, okay, let's go down that route for a minute. Let's go down that rabbit hole. If it's somebody known to the area, well, not all, but most of the people in that area are a Mackenzie, a Martell, somewhere in that family. So, do you think it was family that did it? If not, then who? And if they're that close to home, why has there not been any scent or, and from what I understand, RCMB has checked. So that's where I'm hung up on that. It just, for me, I don't have enough to tell me different. See you later, Wolfie. I did take it down. I'm behind in chat, obviously. See, this is why I have my Facebook up. You should have yelled at me. Nobody had my permission to post that. To post the post. Well, I'm going over everything that Derwood's posted, so I'm sorry that it upset you. You're welcome, Ben. He wants to post on the screen. I know it has his name in it. Actually, well, I didn't pay attention to it until I seen that he said remove it. Went over it, I removed it. Wasn't aware of that. You wasn't aware of what, Amy? because I am behind in chat. Let me try to catch up. If nothing is in evidence of anything to do with the kids, we wouldn't know what happened to the kids. I feel sorry for the kids. Exactly. We have no evidence. Like us, YouTubers, the community, none of us have evidence. RCMP, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they have a lot more than we do. If someone went into the trailer, it would be loud because it was an old trailer. Well, yeah, if somebody was going into it, I'm sure it would be, but maybe not. Hi, Nancy. How are you, dear? Wolfie, I can't find the one to remove it. It's okay. Um, don't go. We'll know what an asshole he is. Yeah, sorry, Wolfie. I didn't see your message soon enough to go over it. Sorry. I'm changing jobs soon. I'm going to take a break from YouTube for a while I settle in. I don't blame you. We all gotta have breaks here and there. Hopefully you like your new job. He could have messaged me on Facebook. I get behind in chat. He could have messaged me on Facebook. I would have got it down immediately. Had I seen it, I would have got it down immediately. Well, I didn't know you hadn't seen it, Wolfie. I assumed that you had seen it. It's an old one. I assumed you had seen it. You have my email. Okay. Melissa, you can have my wrench. Okay. I'll take it. Here, let me see if I can. Hold on, guys. Let me pull this up because I've offended Wolfie and didn't mean to. Again, sorry, Wolfie. Did not mean to offend you. Did not know you hadn't seen it. Let me. Give me just a second, guys. Okay. You do not have a wrench anymore. Sorry. Didn't know you hadn't seen it. Again, did not mean to upset you. I'm going over Derwood. So that means Derwood screenshots, whatever they may be. Sorry, I'm behind in chat and did not see you ask me to remove it. Again, you could have messaged me on Facebook. I would have gotten that a lot quicker. Sharon, yes, it's the same place, but better. The only thing is I can't work from home. Oh, that sucks. Derwood made the statement. Exactly. Derwood made it, not me. Don't get mad at me. I thought you posted it, but you can click on it and remove it. I can't. Exactly. It's on my thing. Nobody can remove it. Little mama. I think someone in that house knows. I agree. Someone in that house does know. That's good. So, Melissa, I'm listening as I quickly go out and smoke. That sounds like a plan. Matt as a catter. Good luck, Ben. All the best. Wolfie, you were commenting to Dickwood while I was up there. It's all good. Melissa wouldn't do that on purpose. Exactly. So, I mean, again, sorry. Was behind in chat. Never mind taking my computer with me. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna go off screen and smoke a cigarette, and we'll continue reading some of Dickwood's posts here. So give me 1 second. Let me get everything set up. Okay. So think about this. If your father was being openly accused of online of being a child breadwinner, a rug manufacturer or dealer, a child, you know what that word says, liar and thief, and was totally innocent, would you try to defend him in any way you could? And this is something I don't quite understand because it sounds like maybe Jordan is the one posting this, but it's under Derwood's account. So that when I first read that, it didn't make any sense. This is what my son is doing, and despite the hateful lies and podcasters are spreading. We're not spreading any lies. We're just showing what you say. Idiots are repeating and believing to attract views and subs. No, I don't do this for the views or the subs. I do this for Jack and Lily, to bring attention to Jack and Lily. And you are the one that inserted yourself. So let's talk about it. For a few dollars. I'm not monetized. Sorry. Myself and my son have told the total truth through it all, and have suffered huge damages because of stupid, ignorant, hateful people. Thank God for our friends. I'm surprised you have friends. On Thursday, November 13th, the major crimes investigator, John Donaldson, was given information by myself and a professional private investigator that should enable them to solve the disappearance of Jack and Lily Sullivan. Well, obviously it wasn't that good there, Derwood, because this is an older one. This was a while back, so obviously your information wasn't that good. The RCMP, in my opinion, should have solved this issue months ago. If the RCMP do not making arrests, Derwood, it's if the RCMP does not make an arrest, get your grammar somewhat right, at least somewhat. Or at least of the people responsible for this mess within 1 week. I want the tape of my interview with them on November 13th released to the public, unredacted, in full. They need to start being accountable. Well, they're not going to do that, you dumbass. Just so you know, they're not going to release that tape unredacted. And they're probably not paying attention to you because you probably fed them some line of bullshit. Okay, so this was earlier today. We already went over that one. I'm sorry for the trouble my involvement in trying to help with Jack and Lily has caused so much trouble for you, my sons. I love you both forever and always. Oh, isn't that sweet? Maybe you shouldn't have inserted yourself. If you wouldn't have inserted yourself, your children wouldn't be having to defend you, thus inserting themselves and just being more of a mess. Just a thought there. So I want to clarify, this was from August. I want to clarify that I still honestly believe and hope that Jack and Lily are alive and well. I believe that the Indigenous people, First Nations, Native Child Protection Services performed an intervention. It's not called an intervention when they take your child, you idiot. It's a removal. It's not an intervention. An intervention is what we should do to you with that big old honking nose of yours and your drinking problem. Sorry, I digress. And with the consent and cooperation of their mother, the children were removed from the Lansdowne property for their own safety and future well-being. Well, again, you're blaming First Nations, and they wouldn't have done that. I also want to be clear that if this turns out to be true, that I commend the actions of the Native community. So you put them down, and then you're like, well, I commend their actions. Make up your mind. For doing this, and I am glad that they did. It was good and moral action to take, and legal or not, it was the right thing to do. You're full of shit. I will call it as I see it. I am not monetized. I will call it as I see it, Derwood. You are full of it. First Nations did not take these children. If the Chief Michelle Glasgow supported this, I would also commend her action. She did the right thing. I believe Native CPS is far better at caring for children than the Canadian CPS has proven to be. Well, I don't know about the Native CPS, but clearly the Canadian CPS didn't do their job because kids were still in that home, in my opinion. I also wish Michelle Glasgow and the Native community success in the pending court case. If we can't protect children, we should all be damned. Well, I hate to say it, but I agree with you there. So at first, it was First Nations. Now we're going to switch over to it was Malaya. I believe Malaya has custody, and I believe she and some of her family know exactly where they are. Just because the Canadian public doesn't know where they are doesn't mean they're hidden. Isn't that what that means? If they're hidden, that means the public doesn't know where they are? I mean, to me, that's what that means. I find it totally unbelievable that while children are going missing, there are parasite podcasters making money. Again, I'm not making money. I don't know about other people, but I'm not. From the tragedies and misery of families and friends, and are being hailed as heroes. I've not heard of anybody being hailed as a hero. However, we are the ones keeping their names out there, because I just went through before this live and looked at your Facebook. And unless you are running down the First Nations and blaming them, or you're blaming Daniel, or you're blaming Malaya, you haven't shared one time lately their missing poster. You haven't said anything nice about the kids. You haven't begged for help in looking for the kids. Nothing. However, these parasite podcasters, as you call them, are out here keeping the kids' names out there, keeping their pictures out there. What are you doing besides spreading false information and hate? While they libel, slander, and harass, spread lies and gossip, well, we're not harassing anybody. I'm not slandering you. I'm reading your own words. I'm, gossip. Well, that's kind of all we have is to speculate at this point, because Daniel and Malaya and Janie won't open their mouths and tell us what happened and tell us where the kids are so that we can bring them home. See them for what they are: hateful, mentally deficient, low life, low intelligent parasites. Oh, honey. I bet I got more than you do. I bet I have more intelligence. I bet I have more mental capacity for thinking things out than you do. Just saying. Susie, hello. I've just joined, listening while I clean, pick some cooked crab. Love hearing others' theories. Vote for Jack and Lily. Yes. Jack and Lily are what matter. So again, from July, people are starting to see through these sick, twisted, true crime podcasters. They are slowly, hatefully, consistently babbling themselves into pure insanity. No, what's making us go insane is the fact that we have people that were on the property. I'll even take Janie out of this. Daniel and Malaya. Their only job in life was to raise children, the children that were in their home, and protect them. That's it. And they couldn't do it. They didn't protect the children, they abused them. We've got proof of that. If you want it, Derwood, I'll pull it up, because I've got the picture proof that those children were abused. So take that. And that's what's driving us insane, is because we care and we're looking for these children and we're keeping their names out there, and it's driving us insane that Daniel and Malaya and Janie's stories do not add up on what should be ingrained and seared into their brains every little thing that happened. Their own hatred is eating them up. Don't get caught up in their delusional rants. Well, call it what you want. Have a little faith in your friends and try to be positive in bad situations. Believe in the principles of Jesus Christ. It's the best way to peace and light. Okay, look, Derwood, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. Jesus is my savior. However, that does not mean that I overlook the abuse of two innocent children and the fact that the people that are supposed to care for them and take care of them didn't do their jobs. Plain and simple. Lynn says, and besides that, they're buying coats, foods, and toys, all sorts of things for children's donations and helping others, Derwood. Exactly. If, Shar held a fundraiser, and I believe it was something like $700 thereabouts, that she donated. And she donated this buddy bench, and she put all this time into it. Other creators have done fundraisers for the kids and for the school and all of this stuff. What have you done, Derwood? What have you done personally? Because these creators that you're downing are doing everything that they can do. Derwood be needing a lot of Hail Marys after these posts, right? I think you need to be worried about when you meet your maker there, Derwood, because you want to keep bringing Jesus into it. Jesus is going to show you real quick because Jesus knows all and sees all, okay? So does this look like a math head killer to you? What? Because he's holding his daughter? Ain't Meadow cute, though? She's just adorable. But just because he's in a supervised visit, mind you, supervised, that he took a cute little snapshot. Okay, and that doesn't mean nothing. This lady posted, I seen on Facebook earlier, she posted this video. She had 5 kids, and her kids were removed from her care because of abuse. And it's her dancing with 5 kids in the house, right? Well, she pays no attention to the older girl whatsoever. She pushes the older boy away from her and won't dance with him and ignores him, pushes him away, physically pushed him away to dance with the 3 younger ones. They're like, well, does this look like abuse to you? And I'm like, well, sure. On the surface, she looks like she's having fun with her kid, but she's ignoring 2 of them and physically pushes another one away from her. So does this look like a math head killer to you? Well, what? Because it's a split second in time? So we're just supposed to, I personally believe whatever happened that night, Daniel snapped. I don't think that it was planned. I think Daniel snapped. But because he's not snapped in this picture, I'm supposed to think that he didn't do anything? That's not how this works. So in July, Derwood said, I'm tired of hearing how the native people think they're the ones who have been affected by generational trauma. Do you know what that is, Derwood? Like in America, they literally took our land. They walked us for miles on end and killed a bunch of us. Like, really? I think the natives have probably a little more trauma than most. Not saying they're the only ones with trauma, but they definitely have a lot, and all due to the white man. There's a lot of people in Nova Scotia of Scottish ancestry who have looked at the history of slavery, savagery, of war that the English waged on our ancestors. Almost every race in the world has been affected by this issue at one time or another. It's the history of our world. It's not a race, color, or creed issue. It's a control and greed issue. So stop crying and get on with a decent life if you can. Rise above the hate. Really? Really? Like, you're literally saying in other posts that the First Nation community, this indigenous community, stole these kids. You are inflicting trauma on them still today. She is a doll baby, isn't she? She's so pretty. She's such a cute little girl. I seen pictures of her, the new picture the other day. She's just such a beautiful little girl, and she's definitely looking a lot better than when she first did. So Derwood said, I don't think the RCMP want to know where they are, because if they admit they do, they will be forced to do something they don't want to do. So we went from the First Nations did it, to Malaya did it, to Malaya and Malaya's family did it, to now the RCMP is covering up for everybody. Seriously? Like, I don't understand. Somebody make it make sense, because it doesn't make any sense. You don't know what happened, just like we don't know what happened. But instead of saying, hey, I don't know what happened, let's find Lily and Jack, you want to blame First Nations, you want to blame Malaya, you want to blame Cindy, you want to blame RCMP, you want to blame everybody else besides the 3 people that were on the property that night, that day. Like, really? Oh my God, Derwood, what does this have to do with Lily and Jack? You're racist. Get over it. And I agree. It was very race filled. But the point was, he says this, but then right before that, remember, he was saying, oh, well, First Nations did it for their best interest. I applaud them for doing it, essentially. But then, literally days later, he went on this racist rant. It's like, really, Derwood? Really? You should see her now. She's so cute. I just seen a picture of her, his last visit that he posted, like a week ago, I think it was. Oh yeah, because let me tell you, yeah, he's so respectful, and he's so on point, isn't he, Daylene? Um, so this is something that he had posted to Charmaine. Uh, Truth pretty rough, Vanessa. Somebody had asked how he was doing or holding up. And he said, pretty rough, Vanessa. Too many liars in this circus. Not DT, though. He's trying to be right. Okay. We will just agree to disagree with that one there, Derwood. We won't go any further into that one. So last night, Charmaine, another true crime genius podcaster, posted pictures of my son's house, claiming that she got information from a solid, reliable source. Well, I happen to know Char's sources are solid and reliable. That Daniel Martell, his partner Malaya, can't even say his girlfriend or anything like that. You gotta say partner. Jack and Lily and Meadow were visiting my son on May 1st. Yes, because that's what was reported by a witness. And as we do our due diligence, we look into those things because we're smarter than you are. We don't just blame the First Nations. She was told by various sources this was not true, wasn't recent, had been investigated by the RCMP, and proven to be totally false. I was in that live. That's not what was said within that live. I'm just saying. But with emotional tears in her eyes, yeah, because she takes this to heart. Because she actually cares about Jack and Lily. I digress. Now, tonight admitted that it was false, but says that it was her civic duty to and reported it to the RCMP. That's because it is. Like if we have something and we come across something, whether it be a viewer or a podcaster or a YouTuber, and we come across something that we think the RCMP should be apprised of because it's online and we don't know if they're actually catching all of it and watching it, then yes, it is a civic duty. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna go into the rest of that because he's an idiot. So, well, like these idiot lying moron podcasters, do you think calling us idiots and liars and morons and all of that repeatedly, like, do you think that hurts us? Like, you're showing your mental intelligence here, not ours. Okay, come up with some new words, maybe get a thesaurus and figure it out. There's lots of other words you could use. What the fuck? Why is Daleen commenting? Because they're buddies. And she believes everything he says, in my opinion. I don't know. That would just be how I take it. Thought they were on opposing sides. That's the thing, though, April. There shouldn't be sides, right? Like, this should be about Jack and Lily, right? There shouldn't be any damn sides. You know, there was sides in Sebastian's case, too. And it's like, can't we just all be on the side of the missing person and finding out what happened to the missing person or persons in this case? Like, I don't understand. No, I think they all talk behind the scenes about theories, etc. I could be wrong. So I think that this lawyer and this PI that Derwood was referring to earlier is Daleen and Chrissy, but I could be wrong. But that is my theory. Gotcha. There was a time they hated each other. Exactly. They don't know what they can't figure out their own stories. Can't keep up with these idiots, right? 100% there shouldn't be. They should be working together for one main goal, finding justice for these babies. Exactly. Finding justice for Jack and Lily is what matters. Not defending Derwood, but saying the white man is racist too, AJ. Okay. Well, my mother can live on a reservation. And that is how a lot of natives refer to white people. They refer to us, most of them, not all, as the white man. So using their terminology is not racist. But if that's how you feel, okay, I will disagree there. Oh, we're not even gonna do that again because he likes attacking Charmaine and everybody else. So here's one where he was not on the side of Chrissy Travers, the PI. I don't know how good of an investigator Chrissy Travers is, and it's Travers, not Traverse. Travers, Travers, I think, not Traverse. Traverse is if you're going across something, you're traversing a terrain. Well, okay. So Stardust, if it's offensive to you, sorry. But like I said, in America, a lot of our native people will refer to us as the white man because that is their terminology. I'm sorry if you're offended by their words because I'm using their words. So if you're offended, you know what? Too bad. Honestly, too bad. Don't know what to tell you. I don't know how good of a lawyer Daleen Thomas is. Well, again, you guys are buddies. So, and Belinda Gray, I strongly disagree on what we believe with Jack and Lily. But I can tell you this, we, along with a few others, are working together to uncover the whereabouts of the children and find the truth, while there is a small group of idiots and podcasters pushing misinformation and distractions through false profiles like Brad Turner. Okay, well, I can't argue with him there. Like it's some kind of game. And I believe that you are in the group that don't want the truth out. Look, we all want the truth out. Okay? We all want the truth of where Jack and Lily are. We all want them home. So you said this is my opinion, and for you, your entertainment purposes only. We don't find this entertaining. What is entertaining to me is going out with friends. What is entertaining with me is hanging out with my family or playing games. This is not a game. This is two missing children, and the fact that you're treating it like a game says a lot about you. Okay. Stardust, you want to call me a hypocrite? That's fine. You don't have to watch. You can leave if you want. But if you continue to be rude, I will remove you. So the choice is yours. I've explained it more than once now. I won't continue to explain it, and I will not continue to address you. So you decide what you want to do. Oh, see, there's my dino. Thanks to the good, honest people for being good, honest people. The rest of you need to smarten up. Stand up for what's right. Be truthful. Try it. You might learn to like it. Well, why don't you pass that advice on to your family? Okay? Pass that on to them so that they can be truthful and they can tell us what really happened that night. So we're not sitting here playing a guessing game. So we're not sitting here trying to figure it out. Tell your family to be truthful. Tell your family to stand up for what's right. And tell Malaya or Daniel to smarten up because the first one gets the best deal. And let's end this nonsense. And let's bring these babies home. Aw, thank you. You guys got the point on that one. So this was on Derwood's page, and it said, and this does not have to do with Jack and Lily, but I'll bring it back to it. Don't worry. At no point in history have the people forcing others into compliance been the good guys. Well, Derwood, aren't you the one trying to force us to believe your point of view? Aren't you the one trying to force us into it was Daniel, or it was Malaya, or it was Cindy, or it was First Nations? Right? So does that make you a bad guy then? Just curious. You want to clarify that for me? In my opinion, I say everyone totally ignore him. Don't no one even read or give him the time of day. Oh, trust me, after today, I probably won't. This was suggested. So this is what we're doing tonight. I kind of figured I'd get some more people telling me what they thought happened so we could talk about different possibilities, but nobody has given me any possibilities here. Ben did. Went over that one. To all the people mocking others who actually take their time to learn what is going on instead of believing everything they are told to think, you should be embarrassed and ashamed that you don't look into anything and that you have absolutely zero clue of what is actually going on and when all the facts are right in front of you. Well, Derwood, I think you need to read that. But I'm going to go back to my new mantra of I admire how you don't let the evidence change your opinion of what happened, because there's been a lot of evidence presented that it wasn't the First Nations. There's a lot of evidence that's been presented right? That they most likely didn't wander off, but and they probably weren't abducted, in my opinion, but you want to keep pushing those facts. So take your own advice here, okay? I don't believe they wandered off either. I really don't. See, all of this time we can be looking into at a map or different areas by Derwood. Well, Lynn, if I was any good at maps, we probably would, but I'm no good at that. Like, honestly, like, it doesn't work. So, I'm just as convinced as ever, if not more, that Lily and Jack are being cared for by the native group. So now we're back to the native people did it. Now we're back to First Nations. Make up your mind. Plain and simple. Because you want to say it's the First Nations. You want to say it's Malaya. You want to say it's Daniel. You want to say it's Malaya's family. And then we go back to First Nations. I'm not saying that we haven't all changed our mind a time or two in this case. But you cannot continually blame the First Nations. And if I were them, I would come after you. I would come after you for slander, for defamation. Michelle Glasgow, go after him. I'm sure there's some sort of legal thing you can do. So you say all of your evidence has been shown to the RCMP major crimes. Everyone is invited to share theirs along with anything you know about me. Why? First of all, you didn't take the kids, I don't think. So why would we bog down the RCMP with bullcrap? Because that's counterproductive. We want the kids found. And if you've given all of your evidence to the RCMP, this was posted earlier today. If you have given all of your evidence to the RCMP, then obviously your evidence isn't good enough or isn't correct or whatever, because the RCMP hasn't acted on it. Plain and simple. So, that's enough of Derwood, because I can't take any more of his bullcrap. He's all over the place. And then he had sent me, that he thought that they did it, whoever did it for the right reasons. It's never a right reason to kidnap a child. It's just not. You can have the best of intentions. It still doesn't make it right. And Derwood and other people spreading all this false bullcrap, right? It doesn't help this case. It's not going to solve the case. What we need is for the 3 people who are on the property, and I'll even take it down to 2. We need for Daniel or Malaya to come out and tell the truth. And Malaya, I really hope, I know you're not listening, but I really hope you are talking to the RCMP. And that's why you're being quiet. I really do. Because your children deserved and deserve still to be protected and loved. And nobody on that property has shown me that. In the DT interview, when Daniel was talking to DT, Daniel referred to the children as it. And that has always bugged me. And there's other things he said, where he's saying things that are classic abuser sentences. If they ran into a doorknob, they were clumsy, they had low immune system, things of that nature. They had limited food. So you're talking past tense. But then you go on at about 19 minutes and 30 seconds in, you say, you know what I mean? Like 30 seconds or something like that, because it could be in the fridge. Why are you referring to two missing children as it? They have names. It's Jack and Lily. Why are you referring to them as an inanimate object? It. Blank, blank. What a profile name, right? And no picture on top of it. Can't tell me that's not a troll. Last two brain cells were used for that profile name, right? And they were fighting for third place. Such beautiful babies. How could they not adore them? I know, right? And, you know, when somebody goes missing, generally, even if there's issues in the family will talk about that missing person in a positive manner, in a good light. And in this case, I've not heard Janie or Daniel or Malaya speak of them in a good manner. It was, well, they'll talk your head off. They'll go to anybody, just offer them water, referring to them as it. Well, I couldn't stand Lily's loud scream. Could you stand Lily's loud scream? Well, yeah, because it would mean she's alive. So, yeah, I could. Yeah, they just show no love. And it is. And, I hate to think of it, but God forbid these babies are never found. Whoever did this, whether it's Daniel, Malaya, Janie, all three, none of the three, some stranger abducted them, whatever. Whoever took or harmed these kids will meet their maker and will be punished for it at some point. However, as a community, we want them found. We want them home, even if that home means that they get a proper burial, right? That's what we hope for. We hope that somebody talks and these babies come home. No matter the outcome, these babies deserve to be home. They deserve to rest in peace if that's what's happened. Not in a woods or wherever they may be. They deserve to be home where their family can bring them flowers, where their family can give them hugs and kisses. Because in my opinion, Belinda is the only one who has spoke lovingly about these kids. And I'm not excluding Chelsea or any of that. When I say Belinda, I mean Belinda's family. Because I sure don't hear the love and affection from Janie or Daniel. I don't hear it from Malaya. When she come out with that letter, she couldn't even release it in her own voice. She had somebody else was reading that. That was not Malaya's voice. She could have read that letter aloud and said, when she got emotional, said, hold on, I need a minute. I need to collect myself. We all would have understood. We all would have been like, go girl, collect yourself. You got this. But then she has the nerve to tell us in that same letter to be a voice for Jack and Lily. Where is your voice, Malaya? You couldn't say anything nice about them in the one interview you did. You couldn't say anything and read that letter yourself in your own words, in your own voice. So where's your voice, Malaya? You tell us to have one. Well, we have one, and we're using it. But your children deserve for it to be your voice at least once, saying something positive about your children. I think she does not want or like being a mom. Well, I would have thought that too, but Belinda said she used to be a great mom, right? She never yelled at them. She wasn't physical with them. She was a great mom. So what happened? She never grew up. Yeah, I don't think so. No. So anyway, I don't know. Derwood needs, in my opinion, to stay out of this. And if he can't post anything nice, he needs to take his own advice and just shut up. Because he is spreading so much hate and misinformation, and it's overriding what is important in this case, and that is Jack and Lily. Because they're the only ones important. Daniel's not important. Malaya's not important. Janie's not important. The only important people in this case is Jack and Lily. And where are they so we can bring them home? So on that note, y'all, I am going to go ahead and play out my outro. Sorry again, Wolfie, if I upset you. There were, ways you could have got a hold of me a lot quicker. You should have known I was behind in chat. But again, sorry. So here we go, guys.
No amount of time will make us stray. We'll keep searching through the darkest day for every soul that's lost or gone. We'll fight until the break of dawn. American justice stands so tall. We won't rest until we found you. For all the lost, both the near and far, you're in our hearts. You're who we are. Through the nights and through the pain, we will say your name again. Every step we take is true as we continue to search for you. American justice stands so tall. We won't rest until there is justice for all the lost, both the near and far. You're in our hearts. You're who we are. We will continue to pray until you're home to stay.